Today we are going to be taking a tour of the Woodlawn Cemetery in Nashville, Tennessee. This cemetery has many famous people interred here, and you can come and pay your respects. The very first thing that you should do when you arrive in this cemetery is go to the main office and ask them for a map. And they will give you a map that shows you where every famous person grave is located in this cemetery. That will save you a whole lot of time and a whole lot of trouble, trust me. I came during the pandemic and an ice storm, and those maps saved me a lot of walking and a lot of trouble. The very first grave I visited, I really don't need to tell you the history of this guy because I'm sure everyone knows him. George the Possum Jones. He sang many hits from many decades ago all the way up until not too long ago. He sang I Don't Need Your Rocking Chair. He sang He Stopped Loving Her Today, which is one of my all-time favorites, and many other classics. He sang a lot of duets with a lot of country stars, and he, by some people, he's like one of the founding fathers of country music. He's like one of the solid foundations, the brick and the pillars that made classical country music and set the pace for country music, for the genre, and he laid it out for people to follow in the footsteps today. And sure, in his lifetime, he did battle his demons that everybody has, but in the end, he won. Yes, he might have got a DUI for driving a riding lawnmower, or he was called No-Show Jones because he had drinking problems. But during the last part of his life, he really cleaned up his act and he got himself together and he was good. So, to me, he's one of my heroes of country music, and he'll live on forever in my heart. Some of the songs that he sang, I was able to relate to in my own life, and it made me really appreciate the man, the legend, and the artist called George Jones. May the possum live forever in our hearts. Now, inside of Woodlawn Cemetery here, in this particular part, you will see that here is Johnny Paycheck. He's most famous for singing the song, "Take This Job and Shove It." And I do know that he was friends and worked with George Jones quite a bit. And he sang a lot of older hits and was in the Grand Ole Opry. And then there's Gabriel Majuk Kerr. He was a refugee from Sudan, known as one of the Lost Boys, and he worked for the Opryland Hotel for nearly 15 years. James Robert Douglas Baranis was a place kicker for the Tennessee Titans, and his life would tragically end and be cut short in 2014 due to a car crash. Jerry Donald Chestnut was born May the 7th, 1931. He was an American country music songwriter. His hits include Good Year to the Roses and Trouble. He was born and raised in Harlan County, Kentucky. He moved to Nashville in 1958 to pursue his career. In 1967, Del Reeves recorded Chestnut's A Dime at a Time to give the songwriter his first chart hit single. In 1968, Jerry Lee Lewis's hit recording of Chestnut's Another Place, Another Time was nominated for a Grammy Award. In 1972, Chestnut was named Billboard Songwriter of the Year, and in 1992 became a member of the Songwriters Hall of Fame. He is laid to rest by his wife, Patricia. Billy Norris Sherrill was born November the 5th, 1936. He was an American record producer, songwriter, and arranger, best known for his association with country artists, notably Tammy Wynette and George Jones. Woodrow Wilson Red Savine was an American country singer and songwriter associated with truck driving songs, particularly those recited as narratives. You will notice inside of the graveyard that there is a mausoleum. It is called the Cross Chapel Mausoleum because it is in the shape of a cross. But you will want to enter to the right, as that is technically the third floor and where the receptionist is located, so you can get a map to identify where everybody is located in the building. Here is a recreation of the tomb of Christ inside of the mausoleum. James Cecil Dickens, better known by his stage name, Little Jimmy Dickens, was an American country music singer and songwriter, famous for his humorous novelty songs, his small size of 4 feet 11 inches tall, and his rhinestone-studded outfits, in which he is given credit for introducing into country music live performances. He started as a member of the Grand Ole Opry in 1948. Joyce Reba Rambo, better known as Dottie, was known as a gospel singer and formed the group known as the Rambos. Guy and Lily Mae Tomlin are the parents to the actress Lily Tomlin. James Ed Brown was known for doing radio programs, and his most famous song was Papa Top. Gordon Stoker was part of a group known as the Jordanaires, and they most frequently performed with Elvis Presley and many other big famous musical acts. Lynn Renee Anderson was an American country singer and television personality. She is most remembered for her signature recording crossover hit, Rose Garden. Van Wesley Stevenson was an American singer-songwriter. He scored 3 U.S. Billboard Hot 100 hits in the 1980s as a solo artist, and later became tenor vocalist in the country music band Black Hawk. Jerry Reed Hubbard was an American country music singer, guitarist, composer, songwriter, as well as an actor who appeared in more than a dozen films, including Smokey and the Bandit. J.D. Sumner was an American gospel singer, songwriter, and music promoter. Tammy Wynette, born Virginia Wynette Pugh, was an American country music singer, songwriter, and musician, and was one of country music's best-known artists and biggest-selling female singers, including over 21 Billboard Top 100 hits. K.T. Oslin, born Kay Toinette Oslin, was an American country music singer, songwriter, and actress who appeared in the movie A Thing Called Love. Ernest Burt Ashworth was an American country music singer, broadcaster, and longtime Grand Ole Opry star. Baudelaire Bryant and his wife Felice were a songwriting team who produced over 1,000 recordings and produced the songs Rocky Top and Bye Bye Love. Dobie Gray was an American singer and songwriter whose musical career spanned soul, country, pop, and musical theater, who is also known for the big hit song Drift Away. Porter Wagoner was an American country music singer known for his flashy, nudie, and manual suits and blonde pompadour. In 1967, he introduced singer Dolly Parton on his television show, The Porter Wagoner Show. She became part of a well-known vocal duo with him from the late 1960s to the early 70s, known as Mr. Grand Ole Opry, Wagoner charted 81 singles from 1954 to 1983. He was elected to the Country Music Hall of Fame in 2002. He is interred by his family, where he rests in Woodlawn Cemetery. Ralph Galliant, better known by the stage name Larry London, was an American drummer and session musician. Encouraged by guitarist Chet Atkins and singer-guitarist Jerry Reed, London moved to Nashville in 1969 and grew to be regarded as Nashville's top session drummer. In 1991, Atkins publicly introduced him as the greatest drummer in the world. Martin David Robinson, known professionally as Marty Robbins, was an American singer, songwriter, actor, multi-instrumentalist, and NASCAR racing driver. Robbins was one of the most popular and successful country and western singers for most of his nearly 4-decade career, which spanned from the late 40s to the early 1980s. Over the course of his career, Robbins recorded more than 500 songs and 60 albums. Michael Webb Pierce was an American honky-tonk vocalist, songwriter, and guitarist of the 1950s, one of the most popular of the genre, charting more #1 hits than any other country artist during the decade. His biggest hit was In the Jailhouse Now, which charted for 37 weeks in 1955, 21 of those weeks at #1. As I was walking through the cemetery to find the graves, I came upon a part of the cemetery that felt warm and peaceful and was just comforting. It was this scenery of old Civil War buildings that has been put in the cemetery, and it's very scenic and beautiful. As I close out this video, I hope that you have enjoyed this video. I really enjoy going to different cemeteries and paying my respects, and also to bring the grave sites to YouTube virtually, just in case people can't get out for some reason and can't see these places in person. So I hope you really like these or enjoy these. Please consider subscribing to my channel. I would greatly appreciate it. And until next time, have a good day and enjoy the rest of the video.